So I'm sure you guys remember this reel. It's the $100 DC reel DMK Cheetah. Now I did a few videos on it not too long ago, but it turns out that DMK actually improved and upgraded the reel already at the time of me filming my videos. In fact, they improved upon the Cheetah by coming out with not just one, but two new models. The Cheetah Air and the Cheetah Metal. Now thanks to Donkun Fishing, I have the Cheetah Metal here to give you guys a thorough review. Now the great thing is that it looks like the price of the Cheetah Air and Metal have stayed right about the same, which is around $100 give or take. So I'll leave a link pinned at the top of the comment section to where you can get the new Cheetah Metal as well as the Air straight from Donkun Fishing. And the great thing about Donkun is that they're offering a really low combined flat tariff and shipping rate, which is just under $12. Now what was upgraded on these two models was the most important thing you can upgrade, which is the braking system. And this upgrade in my opinion is huge. Now with the standard Cheetah, all the brake adjustments were controlled with the external dial, and that was it. The new brake system now gives you three main modes that you can choose from and still use the external dial to make fine-tuning adjustments. So it's very much like Shimano's IDC5 system, but gives you a bit more fine-tuning. So quite a feat for a $100 DC reel. So once again, go to the link pinned at the top of the comments to get your Cheetah Air or your Cheetah Metal, and let's get started. Now if you thought that DMK just slapped the new brake system into the old Cheetah body, well, you'd be wrong. Now here's the old Cheetah, and here's the new Cheetah Metal. And you can definitely see that the top of the frame is different, and the molding for both side plates are definitely different. And it's also the same with the Air, and I'm going to try to include a picture of the Air to show you that it's actually also different from the Metal as far as the top plate and what appears to be the molding of both side plates. The top of the Air seems to be longer and more pointed with some holes cut out, but I like the look of this Metal. It's very generically handsome, and as you can see, they went with a very, I guess, standard dark gray with black and silver accents. So the Metal will pretty much match on any rod that you put it on. Now I've seen pictures of a version of this reel that had like a red spool and red accents, but I think I prefer the more subtle, mature gray, black, and silver. Now if you order the Metal and you take it out of the box and you hold it and it feels like I guess an entirely carbon or graphite reel, what DMK did with this reel is just like what DAIWA did with the current ZILLION. It's got a metal frame, and you can definitely feel it when you feel the side plate, and this portion of the frame is metal, but I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but they covered the top portion of the frame with a carbon polymer type piece. So let me see if I can zoom in, and maybe the camera will pick that up. Alright, I think you can just barely see the line that separates the metal from the carbon top piece. But yeah, the frame is made of aluminum, which is the reason why I chose the Metal over the Air. And of course you can also tell the difference because the Metal says metal on the side, while the Air says air on the side, obviously. And while I'm at it, I'm going to let you guys take a good close look at the reel from all sides. Feels really solid. It's It's just incredible what they're selling this reel for. Dragstar has decently positive clicks, not the most refined, but yep, Dragstar is made of carbon or graphite, metal handle, spool tension knob, clicks, nice positive clicks, but yeah, it's an overall good looking reel. I don't think anyone's gonna complain when they pull it out of the box. And of course we got these super soft, grippy, comfortable knobs. Now both reels have the same bearing count, which is an insanely high 11+1 for such a budget reel. But from what I've seen during my research is that the air is going to have a slightly lower gear ratio at 7.6:1, while the metal has an 8.5:1 gear ratio, which they're going to call XG. But other features of this reel, of course, is going to be the tapered line guide. Let me zoom in for you guys, where it's going to be wider at the opening versus the exit. And let me check something. Yep, still has a drag clicker. So this reel is absolutely feature packed. And I have to say, the size comparison with the standard Cheetah, they look the same size wise, but in hand the metal palm's a little bit smaller because the top of the frame does not stick out quite as far as the Cheetah. Now, contrary to what I normally do, I went ahead and weighed the reels and their spools off camera, and it turns out that the metal came in slightly heavier than the regular Cheetah at 5.26 ounces versus 5.08 for the standard Cheetah. Now when I pulled the spools out and inspected them, I found them to be pretty much the exact same spool, and I'm pretty sure they're completely interchangeable, but the metal spool came in a fraction lighter at 9.48 grams with its bearing versus the Cheetah's 9.54. And that small difference is probably due to manufacturer tolerances or maybe some grease somewhere. So really not much in it when it comes to on-paper specs, but of course the big improvement is going to be the addition of this new brake system. And I'm going to break it down for you guys and tell you guys the different modes and how to switch modes. Now when you take a look at the brake dial of the standard Cheetah, you'll see a bunch of dots and the letters that spell min on the bottom and max at the top. And this is something that I forgot to go over in the unboxing video of the Cheetah or in any of the subsequent videos, but there are two lights here that when you cast, they light up. And that's going to be very important in the new brake system, which I'm going to show you right now. Now when it comes to the metal, you'll see that the dots are still there. They go from smaller to bigger. Now the letters MIN are gone, and at the top you just see the letter M, and I'm going to assume that stands for maximum. Now the two lights are there still, but the difference is, hopefully you can see it, I'm going to try to zoom in. This is as far as it's going to go, but there is a little box there with the number 3 in the center, and this is how you switch modes. Now the 3 modes for both the metal and the air are going to be the long cast mode, which I like, of course. They have what they call the night or silent mode, which is very interesting. Definitely going to test that out. And then what they call boat mode. I'm going to put up a graphic on the screen for you guys that's supposed to tell you guys what these modes are for. But the way you switch from mode to mode is not quite as easy as, of course, Shimano's ALDEBARAN, where you just flip a switch on the outside. Now with both the metal and the air, if you want to switch modes, let's say go from long to night, you have to turn the external dial to that box with the 3 in it, and then you have to cast and look at the lights. Now in long cast mode, the lights will be all sorts of different colors. In night mode, there's going to be no lights, and then in boat mode, it'll light up green. And that's not something I'm going to demonstrate here, but I'll show you guys out on the water. Now the thing with this is that in order to engage the next mode, you actually have to physically cast the reel. And of course, look at the lights. And I don't think you can go from like long cast to boat mode. Kind of have to go from long cast to night mode and then night mode to boat mode. But I'm going to verify that on the water as well. I know it seems a little annoying to have to do that, but what can you expect from a sub $100 DC reel? But also, just like the standard Cheetah, you can adjust this external dial for fine tuning, and just like the standard Cheetah, it is stepless. So I'm definitely very excited to take this out on the water and test out all 3 modes and see what we find out. So there we go, guys. A quick and easy tabletop analysis of the new DMK Cheetah metal. Of course, the next step is to string the reel up, take it out, and cast it around to see what these new brake modes do. Now, once again, a link is going to be pinned at the top of the comments section. That will take you directly to where you can get your reel at Don Kuhn Fishing. Alright guys, thanks a lot.